This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Thursday, March 5th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about this morning is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So we got a few things going on out there this morning. Not really a ton again, but some of the things that we've been watching are just over and over again are making their moves and still continuing. So we got a lot of stories. Let's talk about first CANF. So this morning, as we were pushing up, we came up towards that 250 level. And the one thing is I was looking back at the prints. It's not going to let me go back on. Actually, it is going to let me go back. But if you look over here, it's about 730, right before 730. There wasn't much that came in at that 250 level. And I always hate seeing that with these cheaper stocks when they make a push and don't really get buying near those highs. Now, most of what we've been seeing coming back into there is selling. I mean, if we look over here, it's just, you got a few prints that are in around that 2 level, which, pretty much 25 cents would be, the perfect amount for how much we've actually seen coming into it. So the one thing is that if we don't see new buying, and I mean, like, for instance, this selling that just came in, that's not a great sign whatsoever. But, once again, we know with the cheaper stock, when it moves up like this, we're going to see profit taking. The biggest thing is just new buying needs to come in, and we just have not seen that yet. So still has all the variables still holding, which is a great sign, especially without much buying coming into it. So it's definitely going to still be watching this, because all we need is, a nice big burst of buying to come in, and we should have no problem getting back up towards that double top. But it is all going to depend on that, because we do not have that show of hand in it yet. Now, CODX this morning is jumped up a bit, and you can see it jumped up on pretty decent volume for what the time was. I mean, you're talking about 7 o'clock in the morning. The only thing is once again, we're sitting around this 15 level, and it's very mixed. There's not really anything that's great that's really jumped out. I mean, you have the 1490, but just not really enough when you're talking about 1.7 million shares being traded already. You can see ask prints and bid prints. It's to be expected considering the fact that it was in a consolidation. But really what I want to see is I want to see it hold this original trigger that's sitting right here at 7. Okay, if we look at those lows right there, 1410. If we break past there, that tells us that no one from this morning really would still actually be within that trade, which is never a good sign whatsoever. So we need to see this thing hold, and we definitely need to see a little bit more buying coming in, because the only reason to drop a stock that should be going up is to be able to build, and I just have not seen that yet. So it's got once again, got all the variables. It just isn't a perfect setup, but as we come into, closer to the morning, a lot of times we'll see, especially with these type of stocks and that have a personality like this, they kind of almost look like they're going to fade out. And then once the market opens, we start to see that buying happen. We start to see that actual push coming in. So that's really what the anticipation on this has to be so far, because we know there's a huge amount of buying higher. But the only problem is the past few days, we just really haven't seen a lot of building coming into it. And I'm never, a big fan, especially with, like I said, with these cheaper type stocks, and especially the fact that it jumped up out of this consolidation. You can see it closed yesterday at 12, made a nice big jump, and it just never really got follow coming into it, which I'm just not a big fan. But at the same time, we also have to remember is that when we get that pop out of consolidation, almost always end up coming down first. So it's got a bunch of different variables. Unfortunately, just no real show of hand in it yet. Next thing I'm going to be looking at is mRNA. So this is, I feel like, broken record. We continuously are just watching these, the same type of stocks. But guess what? As long as they trade, we're going to continue to watch them. And the one thing coming in is that, we definitely got a little bit of buying at that 28 yesterday. But just like I said, it's just not enough. And this morning, we can see mostly bigger selling. And we have huge selling that's sitting at this 27 level. 27's been so hard for it to be able to break. But those buyers are going to run out. And when those buyers run out, we should get a really nice run underneath that 27. So that's exactly what I'm going to be looking for in mRNA today. Next thing I'm going to be looking at is ZM. So this is a little bit, I wouldn't say more of advanced stock, but it's a lot more expensive. But we can see obviously had earnings after dropping that much and then sitting in this consolidation. But I love the range. On average trades 4.8, on average trades 7.6 million shares, already at 335 for the day. So I'm expecting a bigger average and some nice, really smooth moves. Now, one thing just to look at kind of the personality of this thing, it doesn't take a lot to move it with these prints. So it should be a very easy read coming into exactly what the market makers are going to be doing. All you need is, a show of hand, a decent show of hand to come into something like this, and you end up getting that $2, $3, $4 move. So I really do like the setup that's coming into the stock. But just like everything else, unfortunately, I haven't really seen any type of real show of hand yet. You have 109, 2 prints that came in. That's not what we're going to base our morning off of. So we need to see some type of burst coming into this, and then that's going to really tell us exactly what the direction they're looking to go with it is. And from there, we'll obviously be able to set up from our pullback the trigger back towards those prints. Next thing is IBIO. So now we're going on to our side list stocks. Now, IBIO, the reason that it's going on our side list is because even though it jumped up, coming into this morning, there's no way that enough volume came in for them to be able to sell the amount of buying that we actually saw going into this thing. And we know that 3 and then above 3, that 325 area has a ton of buying. And like I said, I can't see the amount of people being able to get out of it. So just something to look at. Once again, it's not anything great. It doesn't have any real great show of hands coming into it. It's really more based off of a story. And then at the same time, we would need to see that trigger come in that's similar to what the buying that we saw when it was above 3. So the trigger should be quite obvious coming into it with really big volume. Now, HTBX is another one where, and of course, it made its move as I was talking, but this is another one where it's got the buying for us to be able to go up to 1, and it was kind of just sitting in this consolidation on our side list, and I was going to say wait for a trigger because we should be able to push up to the double top and then at least break up until that 1 area. So it's already done half that move, but just make sure you look at the reaction as we're coming to this double top. We can see it's mostly buying on the bigger side of prints. So what that's telling us is that we should, after kind of a pullback from that buying, have the ability to break past there, and then it does have that buying to be able to hit the 1 level, and then from 1, obviously, we can't set a price target higher than that because 1's going to give us a whole lot of information. And then INO, obviously, we are going to still continue to watch because even though, these things need to take breaks. I mean, when you have that big of a move, it's quite common to see stuff like this happen. So it doesn't look like anything special, and that's why it's going to be on our side list as this moment. But overall, I'm still going to be looking for that big move to get us up and break past that 10 level, because remember from yesterday, we do have a whole bunch of buying at that 9 level. All right. So overall, it's kind of similar to what we've been doing and what we've been looking at day in and day out with these same type of stocks. I haven't really seen anything too great and new this morning so far. Now, anything else out there that I missed? And buying at 850 was massive, of course. Anything else out there that I missed? Nope. All right, guys. So as always, let's make sure that we are getting ready for our morning, okay, by going over what our habits, what we're building at that moment, making sure we're going over the things that are going to be affecting our trading the greatest. All right. So as always, our mission statement for the morning is going to be make sure that our positions get as far away as quickly as possible from where our entries are. So let's make sure we're waiting for those high probability trades. Once again, congratulations, Matt. It definitely was a long time coming for Trader of the Month. I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.